Hi, welcome to this video about iCal and using iCal for time management. Why do it? Well, because by doing it you will end up saving yourself a lot of time, not wasting time, and having more free time, and probably end up doing a lot better work. You'll probably be better rested, and you'll be more likely to achieve your goals. Basically, you'll be in control of your schedule instead of your schedule controlling you. So there's two parts to the video. The first part is about some of the basics of how to use iCal, and the second part is about a time management experiment you can do that takes about 3 weeks that will allow you to uncover for yourself, reveal for yourself what are the best categories to manage your time under and the best schedule for you in particular to use. So let's begin with part one. Part one is about the basics of iCal. iCal is a simple program that allows you to use color coding to set up categories to see immediately via the visual aid of the different colors immediately what you have on a given day, a given week, or a given month. It allows you to zero right in on your schedule and make quick changes like that and all kinds of other cool stuff. So let's get into the basics of this. The first thing you need to do is set up some what are called calendars once you open up iCal. And the names of those calendars, they really are just categories of activities is what they are. And the names of those categories are up to you, whatever makes sense for you, but I'm going to make a few suggestions. For a Berkeley student, it makes sense to have a category or a calendar called Berkeley Classes. It also makes sense to have something along the lines of study time, probably practice, certainly free time. You definitely want a free time. Maybe you have a job. You definitely need to have meals. You definitely need to sleep. Perhaps you have a regular practice session with your band. You might want to have a category for exercise. That's always a good idea. Then you may need to do some traveling on a regular basis, some commuting or something like that, or just traveling between widely dispersed buildings at Berkeley can take 15-20 minutes, and that you may have to account for that. And you may think of other categories that will be good for you on a weekly basis. We're not really concerned about putting in things that only happen occasionally. We're looking for things that happen on a regular basis. So how do we make a calendar? What you do is you just simply go up here to the iCal taskbar and you choose File and New Calendar. And a little blank appears, and then you can type in a name for it, whatever makes sense. It gives you a color. It's very important to make sure that your different calendars have different colors so you can easily see them. So the way you change a color, if you don't like the one that it gives you, is you just control click on it and get info, and then you go over here and this is your calendar color. You can choose a different one there, or you can do a more subtle one by using this kind of a interface. Okay, once you have your calendar set up, you can do all kinds of interesting things helpful things, edit on the calendar. For example, let's go over to this class I've got set up here on a Monday. This is a very busy day for a student. I've got green for Berkeley Classes, as you can see. I've got red for meals. I've got this sort of whitish color for travel. Blue is free time, and as you can see on this particular day the student doesn't have very much free time. But during the course of a week you want to make sure you do end up with a lot of free time. So that's one of the things you're going to have to figure out, and it will help you figure out how to do that by keeping track of everything you do. But anyway, the technicality of just handling the calendars is what we're focusing on right now. So let's take the example of a class that happens at the same time on multiple days, say an ear training class. You would create the calendar first, Berkeley Classes. Then you would find the time slot and you would, let me just erase that for a minute, and you would just click and drag to create the time slot, double click on it to edit, put in the class, let's say it's ear training. And because it happens 3 times a week, you would go down here and you would choose repeat, and instead of saying every day, that's not going to work every week. What you do is go do custom, and then you would choose Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Say OK. And then that'll just go on forever, but if you want to end at the end of the semester, you just choose that and you say on date, and you choose a date that's about right there at the end of the semester. Put that in, and then you're done. And now it will appear Wednesday and Friday every single week of the semester. Okay, that's the way you do multiple days. You can also set alarms if that makes sense for you. Obviously a class that's that regular, you may not need it, but anytime you have an unusual thing that you're not used to experiencing, you can set an alarm, and the way you do that is you go down here to alarms, and you can choose things. You can send yourself an email, you can send a message to your phone, like a text message with a sound, and you can say whether you want to have a message for only all events or just a particular one, and then you tell it what you want. Do you want a sound? What kind of sound? And how far before the event do you want it to be? Say 45 minutes, whatever, choose that. So you can set alarms. Okay, so that's regular events at the same time. Some classes, like MAT, happen at different times on different days. So here's how you would handle that. MAT has a 2-hour class once a week, and then 2 1-hour classes on other days. So the simplest thing to do there would be to treat them separately. So you create your 2-hour MAT class, edit it, and then, by the way, you can put in location too, like the room number that you're in, whatever it is, if you want to do that right there. And then you would say how often. You would say every week, and end on a date near the end of the semester. And that would take care of your once a week MAT class. Then you would go later in the week, say you have an hour class on Wednesday and Friday. You would create the class on Wednesday, edit it, choose repeat, custom, and then when the thing appeared, you'd click on Wednesday and Friday, and all the other info will be in there, and then it'll just be, put your end date, and then you've got your classes on the various times and dates throughout the semester. Okay, what else do we need to know? So you've created your calendars, you started putting in your classes and various things, and okay, let's talk about moving things around. So it makes sense to make a category for meals, and then to just make them repeat every day. And just pick a time roughly, 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock for lunch, and 7:30 for dinner, something like that. Then on a given day, if something comes up, something changes, and for example, like I've chosen this color, this pink color, to be a band practice. Okay, so say on a given day, your band practice is moving earlier, and you usually have dinner at 7:30. You just take the dinner, move it earlier, and do whatever you need to do with it. So it's very easy to click and drag things, move them around. Okay, so that's pretty much all you need to know to operate iCal. I mean, that's really the essence of it. That's what you need. There are additional functions you can get into if you're interested, and you can sync it with your phone, or at least with an iPhone, I know for sure. And that way you can check things and change things on your phone, and then they'll change back on your computer automatically if you have it synced up. Okay, let's go to part 2 now. Part 2 is a time management exercise, and here's how it works. Part 1 is that you just keep track of everything you do for a week. And this isn't as hard as it seems. Just every night before you go to bed, just spend a few minutes and just jot down how long you did given things for. You might say, I had 4 hours of classes, I had a couple hours of practice, my instrument, I had a band rehearsal that lasted 2 hours, I went to the store and bought some stuff, bought some food and everything, that took about an hour, etc., etc. I went to the gym, all those things. You just jot them down for about a week. I hung out with friends, etc. And then when you get to the end of that week, meanwhile you've been hopefully practicing with iCal and putting in your classes and stuff like that. And then you just kind of look at it and you try to sort of come up with an estimate of what might work for you for a schedule. So you might realize, I want to make sure I have just talking about a whole week, you might say, I want to make sure I have like an average of 3 hours of free time a day. So we got 7 days, so 21 hours of free time. And then figure out where that's most likely to go. Like on a day like this, you don't have much, but on a day like this with no classes, you're going to have a lot more, and you may decide to use it for something like a jam session or something else. And maybe on weekends, you'll have a lot as well, more free time there. So anyway, you come up with some estimates of what you're going to do for each day, and slotting things in around your known commitments like classes and stuff. And then you formulate that, you sort of put that together until finally you don't really have any white space. You have free time which can be used spontaneously, but you don't have any unaccounted for space. You have time set aside for sleeping every day, 7.5 hours, 8 hours, something like that. You have your meals, etc. And then when you've gotten to that point where you've got a calendar that's pretty filled up with your best estimate of how you're spending your time, then you try to go for about a week without deleting anything, just moving stuff around as things change. So an example would be on a day like this, let's erase this and just say that this is just blank free time. Okay, and that's the color for free time, blue, that I've chosen. Practicing, and you get a phone call and somebody says, let's go, I really want you to come and see this band, let's go to a concert tonight, and that really appeals to you. Then you can decide that you're going to do that, and that's the way you could use your free time. Later on, you have some study time set up. So the person says, well, the concert's at 8 o'clock. So you just simply would go like this. You wouldn't erase anything. You wouldn't erase your study time. You wouldn't erase your free time. You just take your free time, move it to there so that you can go to the concert, use your free time for that, and then you would move your study time earlier. And then as you can see, some of the study time is conflicting with some of the other things you have. So you would make a decision to possibly shorten your study time here by an hour, moving that shorter. Then going to your concert, and you could even type it in, the details if you want to help keep track for yourself where you're going to go. They might say concert at the Middle East, and then you might put down the address of that or whatever information you wanted. And then you still need to make up that hour of study time, so you would just do that. You'd have some travel time to the gig, so you'd probably put that back from the gig, and you maybe have your dinner earlier and drag your travel time down there. And then when you get home, you would just put in that hour of study time that you missed there, and there you go. You haven't lost anything. You've still got your full amount of study time, but you just moved things around, and that's really the essence of it. And you try to stick to that for a week, and what will happen is you'll learn a lot. You'll get a lot closer to getting a sense of what actually is going to work for you. Start to see the difference between what you would like to be doing and what you're actually doing. And then that will help you decide how to make some changes, if you need to make changes, how to adapt things. And it will evolve. And it will evolve towards a point that's a much more workable schedule that has enough flexibility, but also helps you keep on top of your commitments and not lose track. So that's it in a nutshell. And let me know, feel free to be in touch about the mechanics of doing this, and we'll be talking about it in class, and I'll be seeing how you guys are doing, give me feedback. But for now, just have fun getting started, putting in some things in your calendar, and see if you can work your way up towards getting a full schedule including a lot of free time though, and then try the experiment, sticking to it for a week, just never deleting anything, just moving things around, and then reassess at the end of that week. Okay, have